Hello. Welcome back to the channel, and this is a channel where we give you reviews, playthroughs, unboxings. We generally like to talk a load of bollocks. Tabletop gaming in general. And in this video we're going to be talking about a bog standard Euro game with some surprises. We're going to be talking about Barrage, and in this game you'll be taking actions on your player mat and also out on the main board that will allow you to do stuff that will give you points that will allow you to win the game. So in this video we're going to give you a very brief overview of the rules. We'll tell you what we do like, what we don't like. And we'll come back and we'll tell you whether or not Barrage is worth your time and bother today and in the future. So remember, if you're new here, please consider subscribing to this channel. Leave a comment in that section down below, hit the like button, all that YouTube bullshit. See ya after this. Bollocks. So Barrage appears to be, at first glance, a bog standard worker placement game. You'll have a player board where you'll be able to take construction actions, and then you'll have a main board where you'll be able to take management actions. And then next to that there is what looks like a flowchart where you'll be manipulating water that flows from the mountains all the way down to the plains, right? The aim of the game is to generate energy, and when you generate energy you'll be given the option to fulfill different scoring tiles, and that will give you victory points that will allow you to win the game, right? So there's 5 phases in this game. Let's go through these 5 phases one by one. First phase is the income phase. You'll look at your player board, and any base that's been uncovered that has an exclamation mark, you'll be able to receive that bonus. A bit like Terra Mystica, isn't it? Not a rip-off at all. You'll also populate the headstream tiles with water droplets. These are randomly determined before the game starts, right? Then you'll have the action phase. This is where you'll be taking actions. Like we said, you could take actions off of your construction board. This is where you'll be able to build stuff, and then you've got the management actions which will allow you to manage your constructions and manage the water flow. So on the construction board you'll see that there are different types of structures. You've got dams, you've got elevations, you've got conduits, and then you've got powerhouses. If you want to build one of these structures, then you'll take it off the board. You'll have to pay the cost associated with it. You'll build the structure immediately. You'll put it on the relevant spot on the board, and you'll take the cement mixers and the excavators that are required and the tile that is associated with that construction, and you'll put it on the first spot of your little wheel thing. You'll move the wheel one segment. You won't be able to get back any of this gear until the wheel has made one complete rotation. I always found it a bit weird that you get to build the thing before you get your stuff back. Surely you should build it after you get your stuff back. So who am I to argue? You might uncover a bonus, in which case you'll take it immediately, and you may get that in the income phase, right? There might be some extra cost to pay if you put in a dam on the board, but you don't have to pay this if you stick an elevation on the board, right? You'll also see that the cost of the conduit is dependent on the amount of energy that it produces. This is this tiny little microscopic number that is placed deliberately to mess up people who've got bad eyesight like me. So the other actions you could do are stuck over on the management board, right? You've got the contract office. Here you'll have to put your engineers out onto the board. You'll be able to pick up 1 or 2 contracts depending on how many engineers you sent there. There's varying difficulty levels of contracts. You've got the green, orange and red. I'll let you try and guess what that means yourself. And you'll take the contract and you'll put it in front of you, ready to complete, right? There is the machinery shop. Here you'll be able to get excavators or cement mixers dependent on how early or late you are to the party. You've got the workshop. This is where you'll be able to rotate your construction wheel in order to get your stuff back quicker. You've got a bank where you'll get 1 credit for every worker that you sent there. There is the water management section. This is where you'll either be able to add a water drop to the headstream at the top of the board, or you'll be able to add 1 and then start off a chain reaction. The way this works is all the water will be released from the headstream. It'll work its way down the river. When it hits a dam, it will stop. The dam's capacity is equal to the amount of levels it's got. So if you've got 2 elevations on the dam, it'll be able to hold 3 water drops. Any excess water will then move down to the next one, and it will get caught by a dam there. If not, then it'll continue down to the plains. It will eventually flow away out into the sea, I'm assuming. So you've got the turbine stations next. This is probably the most important space of them all. This is where you're going to be producing energy. You'll see that you'll get a bonus. You'll also get any bonuses that are on your construction board. And what you'll do, you will take all the water that is in one of your dams or one of the neutral dams. You'll be able to use yours or somebody else's conduit. You have to pay them a credit and a victory point for each drop of water that gets used. You have to trace your pipe down to one of your powerhouses. For each drop of water you'll get the amount of energy that the conduit produces, right? And then you'll translate that to the energy track on the sideboard. This is how you're going to get victory points. We'll talk about that in a little bit, right? Can you wait that long? And then the final space you can go to is the patent office. This is where you'll be able to get advanced technology tiles. These will let you build structures like the normal technology tiles, but they'll give you some really, really nice added bonus so you can nosh yourself off when people aren't looking. So once everybody has passed, i.e. ran out of engineers, then all the water flows down from the edge stream like we talked about when you do this on the management board, right? If you can't remember it, I ain't going through it again for you. All right. You'll earn credits based on the amount of energy you produced in that round. You'll have a look at the sideboard. You'll go to the nearest credit icon, that side here, and you'll get that amount of credits. You score victory points equal to the bonus scoring tile. This could be to do with how many elevations you built, how many dams you built, but you'll always have to have produced more than 6 energy to do this. Depending on what round you're on, you're going to have to produce more energy to score these bonus tiles, right? So if you scored just 6 energy and you're in round 3, you can still score the bonus, but you'll lose 4 victory points for each segment that you haven't moved up. I know it sounds complicated, right? But that's because you're thick as pig shit. Then what you do, you'll sort out the new turn order. The player that scored the most energy will go last, and so on and so forth. And you'll keep doing this for 5 rounds, and then you will go into final scoring. You'll do the scoring as normal, but then you'll score the end of game scoring tile. You'll add up all of your credits you got left. You'll add your cement mixers and your excavators to that, and you'll divide it by 5. You'll get that many victory points, and you'll get 1 victory point for each of the water droplets held behind your dam, right? And the player, the most victory points, will be the winner of Barrage. So what do we like about Barrage? So the first thing that we really like about this game is the cutthroat nature of the placement of your constructions, right? If you look at the board, you'll see that you can build dams behind other people's dams, right? So you can cut off the water supply to the dam that they first built. The trouble is, if you build the dam that's further up, then you have to pay more to do it. So at the beginning of the game, it's going to be very difficult to build in these more lucrative places because it's going to be more expensive. But later on in the game, you're going to want to occupy these spaces because they're going to hog the water first. And if you can get a conduit, or maybe get somebody else's conduit, or build one of these dams with a couple of elevations next to somebody else's conduit, then you are going to be laughing, because if you can grab hold of that big long pipe which gives you 5 energy, you're onto a winner. But it's very difficult to do. The fact that nothing you build is safe from the greedy mitts of those other vultures sitting around the table is super duper. So the second thing that we like about this is that the theme blends really, really well with the mechanics. It's not a Feldian game where the theme is just pasted on, you know, Castles of Burgundy. You've got a geezer looking out that window and then all it is just abstract bullshit in there. Not that it's a bad game, it's a really good game, but the theme is pasted on. That's not the case with this. It seems like they put a lot of effort in to try and take the Euro mechanics of worker placement and blend it well with the theme, which is basically trying to capture as much energy as possible. And it's very rare for a Euro game to do this, right? So we applaud the designers for invariable success in this endeavour. So the third thing that we really like about this is that the art adds to the atmosphere of the game. It's really, really good. It's got that sort of brass titans of industry feel, but it doesn't feel stuffy at all. It does sort of evoke the spirit of the Matt Gertz masterpiece Imperial, but that's more to do with that beardy bloke who's wearing that top hat. So yeah, the artwork is really, really nice on there. They've really done well with the art. They've put a lot of effort in. It's just a shame that we'll get to that a bit, eh? So the final thing that we like about this is it is so satisfying when you pull off one of them mega combos, right? When you nick somebody else's water from the dam that you built above them, when you use somebody else's conduit to snatch that water away and then generate all those points that whacks you all the way up to like 16 energy. There's nothing quite like that feeling of watching other players' jaws drop when you push your energy token up into the nether regions that they are never going to see. This game's full of those sort of moments where you celebrate these little victories in your head and you can't help look like one of those smug bastards everybody hates. So what don't we like about Barrage? So the first thing that we don't like about this game is the name. It reminds us of this no, not really. It does sort of sound like a yellowing fermented cheese, like fromage or something like that, right? Or it could be the name of some posh geezer that you and me would ordinarily call Barry, but he wants to be called Barrage or something. Fucking losing it. So yeah, the name is a bit weird. I don't know. Apparently it's French for something or other to do with water or something like that. I don't know. And I don't really care, but I just don't like saying it. It's a bit like saying moist. So the second thing that we don't like about Barry is the component quality isn't that great. Yeah, okay, the artwork is like really, really nice, and that sort of masks the inadequacies of the components, right? The main board is this really, really flimsy cardboard. I took it out of the box. I'm like, the fuck is this? This is awful. They could have made it a little bit thicker, and it's got this sort of gloss to it. When you've got a light light shining on it, it reflects back like the sun shining off some bald geezer. There were some components missing as well. Some of the scoring markers in the Italian faction were missing, and I haven't had a response from Cranio Creations. So if you're watching this, get a bloody move on, mate. It's not good enough, right? I think I read about some disgruntled Kickstarter backers moaning about the component quality. I don't know whether or not the Kickstarter version is the same as this or whatever, but my copy, A, was missing components, and B, the player board started to warp and the main board started to warp because the quality of the cardboard isn't that great, right? So the next thing that we don't like about this game is some of the player powers and the executive powers, I think they're called, are lopsided, right? Some of the powers in here can't be used. As an example, there's one power in here where you get to copy the executive power of any of the other players, right? But if I read it right, I might not have read it right, I might have been having one of them brain fart moments. The way I read it is that you get to copy any of the other players' executive actions, but you can't do it because you need to take an action to copy it, right? But you've already taken your action by placing some engineers on that executive board. So it doesn't make any sense. That meant that that executive action was redundant and everyone else had one and I didn't. Okay, I started with a little bit more money. It didn't seem like that was balanced, yeah? So the player powers didn't seem like they'd been thought through that well. So the final thing that we don't like about Barrage, and it's probably the same feeling you're going to get through watching all of my bullshit videos, is that it's an exhausting experience, right? It might be the case that it's just one round too long. It's a bit like thinking that you can run 50 miles, getting halfway through, your knees go, and then you're just stuck in the middle of nowhere with no one to haul you out. First time I played this, it took me a couple of days to recover from the grueling experience of having to watch every move that everybody else made. And it really did drain the energy out of me because the game lasted for about 4.5 hours. So this is like an endurance sport more than anything. You need to play this enough so that your brain gets used to the stress factor that's involved when trying to crawl to the finish line. So to summarise, is Barry worth your time and bother today and in the future? So we're going to say yes. This is a, hang on a minute. This is a rare breed of a Euro game. It's as much about theme as it is about the mechanics, right? The luscious art is a bit of a cover for some wonky component quality, and it is ultimately an endurance test that will make you question the point of your existence. My advice to you is a couple of days before playing this, do a little bit of carb loading. That'll ease the stress on your cerebral muscles. If you can get over those foibles, then this is without doubt one Euro game that you do not want to miss. So you go, that's Barrage. Remember, if you're new here, please consider subscribing to this channel. Leave a comment in that section down below. I've got to stop doing this because I'm going to burst out laughing in a sec. I'm going to see you next Tuesday.